They laughed at his limp. They mocked his forge. But when Hephaestus hung the god of war and the goddess of love over Tartarus, their laughter turned to ash. He was the god no one wanted, the divine outcast forever stained with the soot of the underworld. His story is proof that even the most profound deformities can give rise to extraordinary talent, and that revenge, like a finely crafted blade, is best served cold. Hephaestus, the name itself tasted of fire and metal, a stark contrast to the sweet nectar and ambrosia consumed on Mount Olympus. He was an anomaly, a blemish on the otherwise flawless tapestry of the Olympian gods. His tale is not one of triumphant heroism or effortless beauty, but of bitter isolation and meticulously crafted revenge. Hephaestus, the god of the forge, wasn't born into glory, but ridicule. From the moment Hera, his mother, saw his misshapen foot, she recoiled. On Olympus, perfection was paramount, and Hephaestus was anything but. In her shame, Hera hurled him from the celestial heights, his body broken upon landing on the island of Lemnos. His spirit, surprisingly, was not. Hera's cruelty shaped him, forging a will of iron. The fall, though devastating, was the crucible in which his true self was revealed. It was a harsh lesson, brutally delivered, but it taught him that the gods, for all their power and beauty, were often petty and cruel. The sea broke his bones, and the rough sands chafed his skin. But it also instilled in him a resilience the pampered gods of Olympus could never comprehend. He was an outcast, forced to rely on his own ingenuity and determination. He learned to find beauty in the imperfect, strength in the discarded. This new world, born of pain and isolation, became his canvas. There he learned to walk again, to move with a deliberate, if imperfect, grace. More importantly, he discovered fire. He coaxed it, shaped it, and mastered it, building a forge that echoed with the clang of hammer on metal, a symphony of creation born from the ashes of rejection. The rhythmic clang became his language, a way to express the emotions he couldn't voice. Each strike was a testament to his perseverance, a defiance against the mother who had rejected him and the world that had scorned him. The creations that emerged from his forge were not merely objects. They were extensions of his soul, imbued with his pain, his passion, and his unwavering will. Intricate automatons, weapons of unimaginable power, and jewelry that shimmered with captured starlight. Yet, even as Olympus marveled at his skill, they held him at arm's length. The sun, once deemed unworthy, was now the indispensable craftsman, a vital cog in their divine machine, yet never truly one of them. They marveled at his artistry, but recoiled from the artist, a constant reminder of their own vanity. Hephaestus understood their shallow praise, their admiration conditional, dependent on his ability to create objects of beauty and power for their amusement. He saw it for what it was, a grudging acknowledgement of his usefulness, not genuine acceptance. They needed his skill, his artistry, his unmatched ability to craft weapons and wondrous devices, but they would never see him as an equal. This realization only deepened his resentment, fueling the fires of his forge and the simmering desire for retribution. He was a tool to be used, and he would use them right back. The ultimate insult arrived in the form of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, beauty incarnate, was offered to Hephaestus in marriage, a cruel jest thinly veiled as a reward. The most beautiful goddess shackled to the ugliest god. Hephaestus accepted, his face betraying nothing of the turmoil within. Olympus rejoiced, oblivious to the simmering resentment now fueling his forge. Whispers spread like wildfire. Aphrodite, the fairest of the goddesses, to marry Hephaestus, the crippled smith. The irony was lost on no one, except perhaps those who orchestrated the union. Hera, perhaps, seeking to assuage her guilt. Zeus, perhaps, seeking to bind the potential for chaos that Aphrodite represented. Whatever the reason, the marriage was a farce, a gilded cage for both. Hephaestus, despite his outward composure, understood the arrangement. He knew he was not loved, but perhaps, he thought, he could earn respect. He was wrong. Aphrodite found her existence beside Hephaestus unbearable. His workshop, though filled with marvels, was a prison. She craved the vibrancy of Olympus, the adoration of gods and mortals alike. She scorned Hephaestus's quiet dedication, his calloused hands, his face often smeared with soot. He was a craftsman, not a lover, a provider, not a partner. The cold reality of her gilded cage became unbearable. The endless nights in the dimly lit forge, the constant clang of metal, the smell of fire and sweat. It was a sensory assault on her refined sensibilities. She missed the fragrant gardens of Olympus, the lively banquets, the flirtatious glances of the gods. Hephaestus offered her security and stability, but not the adoration she craved. And without adoration, Aphrodite was like a flower without sunlight, slowly wilting and yearning for a different sky. Her heart, restless and yearning, sought solace elsewhere. She was a goddess of pleasure, a creature of instinct and desire. To be confined to a life of quiet domesticity was to deny her very essence. Aphrodite needed to be seen, desired, the very center of attention. The spark in her marriage had died, leaving behind only ashes of resentment and boredom. Inevitably, her gaze drifted toward Ares, the god of war. Where Hephaestus was quiet and introspective, Ares was loud and impulsive. Where Hephaestus offered creation, Ares offered destruction. She found herself drawn to his raw power, his unrestrained passion. Their clandestine meetings grew bolder, their whispers louder. The risks were immense. Defying divine marriage was an affront to Olympus itself, but Aphrodite, fueled by boredom and disdain, reveled in the danger. Ares was everything Hephaestus was not: brash, impulsive, undeniably virile. He represented untamed forces, the raw power of conflict. Stifled by domesticity, Aphrodite was drawn to his fairy spirit. Their affair was a dangerous game, each stolen kiss a spark of defiance, threatening to ignite a conflagration. Ares, puffed up with self-importance, saw Hephaestus as a pathetic cuckold. He flaunted the affair, secure in his belief that Hephaestus was too weak, too preoccupied with his forge to retaliate. He reveled in stolen moments, secret smiles, the intoxicating thrill of forbidden love, openly mocking Hephaestus, mimicking his limp, belittling his creations, blind to the storm brewing beneath the god's placid exterior. Ares believed himself untouchable, invincible. He was the god of war after all. Who would dare challenge him? Certainly not the crippled smith. He saw Hephaestus as a minor inconvenience, an obstacle easily dismissed. He was wrong, terribly, fatally wrong. His arrogance blinded him to the true danger. He underestimated Hephaestus's pain, his cunning, the power of his forge. His victories inflated his ego to colossal proportions. He failed to recognize the quiet strength within Hephaestus, the simmering rage building to a boiling point. He was a fool, and his folly would be his undoing. Hephaestus, however, saw everything. He heard the whispers, noticed the lingering touches, the stolen glances. He saw the way Aphrodite's eyes sparkled with a light never meant for him. He felt the humiliation gnaw at him, a slow, corrosive acid. He said nothing. He simply worked, his hammer ringing against the anvil, each strike a measured beat of mounting fury. His hands, usually so deft and precise, now trembled with suppressed rage. Hephaestus channeled his pain into his work, pouring molten fury into every creation. The fires of his forge burned hotter than ever. Fueled by humiliation and betrayal, he would make them pay. He would expose their deceit and turn their laughter to ashes. He would craft a masterpiece of revenge, a testament to his ingenuity and unwavering resolve. The cage was coming. He watched the lovers, entwined in their arrogance, his fingers clenching around a piece of molten gold. Even fire, he thought, can be a cage. Hephaestus descended from Olympus, seeking the earth's solitude. His limp was more pronounced as he ventured into the volcanic heart of Mount Etna, home to the Cyclopes, one-eyed giants renowned for their unparalleled skill in metalworking. He needed rare and potent materials, capable of holding not just metal, but magic, adamantine, forged in the depths of Tartarus, and orichalcum, harvested from the lost city of Atlantis. Each step through the treacherous terrain was a testament to his resilience, a defiance of the pitying gazes of the Olympians. He sought not only materials, but a place where his imperfections were irrelevant, where strength was measured by skill, not beauty. The Cyclopes, scarred and weathered by the fires of the earth, understood the language of the forge. He approached them with quiet respect, offering his expertise to enhance their own creations in exchange for their assistance. The Cyclopes Brontes, Stirrups, and Arges initially regarded him with suspicion. They weren't accustomed to visitors, especially not gods bearing gifts. But Hephaestus demonstrated his mastery, subtly improving their methods, enhancing the sharpness of their hammer blows and the precision of their molds. This genuine respect earned their trust, paving the way for a collaboration born of mutual skill. Their combined power could shake Olympus. If they only knew the true purpose of their endeavor. The air crackled with energy. Despite his injured leg, Hephaestus moved with surprising speed, commanding the flames and manipulating molten metal with supernatural grace. The immensely strong Cyclops watched with awe. He was not just a god, but a true artisan, a master of the forge unlike any they had encountered. This solidified their respect, deepening the bond forged in the heat of creation. As they worked, Hephaestus masked his burning rage behind stoic concentration. He spoke of crafting a gift for Aphrodite, a token of his affection. Oblivious to the truth, the Cyclopes nodded in approval. A pang of guilt flickered within him, a remnant of the innocent Hephaestus. Before the laughter and betrayal, but the fire of vengeance burned hotter, consuming any remaining compassion. The lie left a bitter taste in Hephaestus's mouth, yet he forced it down. Affection? He felt only contempt for Aphrodite's blatant disregard for their vows. The charade, however, was necessary, a means to a calculated end. He spoke of crafting a beautiful gift, something worthy of her radiant divinity. As he uttered these words, his fist clenched, molten gold dripping like tears between his fingers. The irony was exquisite. He was forging a cage, not a gift, a cage built of fire and betrayal. Hephaestus knew the risks. To twist divine materials to such a vengeful purpose was a dangerous game. The gods, even the seemingly indifferent ones, held dominion over these elements. Zeus invited their wrath, but his pain had become a burning, all-consuming fire, one he was willing to risk everything to quench. The whispers of warning in the molten metal only fueled his determination. He would not be deterred. He would have his revenge. The forge was his sanctuary, and in its fiery heart, he was both creator and destroyer. The net began to take shape, not a simple fishing net, but a masterpiece of divine engineering. Threads of adamantine, thinner than a spider's silk yet stronger than any chain, were woven together with painstaking precision. Orichalcum, imbued with ancient magic, lent the net an ethereal glow, a deceptive beauty masking its deadly purpose. The adamantine was drawn from the deepest chasms of Etna, glowing faintly with an unholy light. It whispered of ancient battles fought in primordial darkness, of imprisoned titans and forgotten gods. The orichalcum, salvaged from a sunken Atlantean ruin, pulsed with the energy of a lost civilization, humming with forgotten melodies and tales of a golden age swallowed by the sea. Hephaestus channeled these energies, weaving them into the net's fabric, each strand imbued with the weight of history and the sting of betrayal. The net was more than just metal. It was a vessel of vengeance, a testament to his pain. He meticulously calibrated its responsiveness, ensuring it would react only to Aphrodite and Ares, careful not to ensnare an innocent bystander in his vengeful trap. The thought of accidentally harming another god, however briefly, gave him pause. His anger was directed solely at the adulterous lovers. This precision, this control, was a testament to his skill, but also to the depth of his hatred. Hephaestus enchanted the net with spells of binding and entrapment, weaving in whispers of ancient curses and forgotten oaths. He imbued it with the power to detect divine presence, to tighten its grip with insurmountable force, and to render even gods powerless. He tested it, stretching it, subjecting it to the most extreme temperatures and pressures. It held, unbreakable, unyielding, perfect. He poured his pain, anger, and humiliation into the net's creation, chanting ancient incantations that resonated with the forge's power. Sparks illuminated his grim face, highlighting his determined features. He would not be mocked, would not be scorned. He would have his justice. The intricate spells he wove exploited the gods' inherent weaknesses, their arrogance, pride, and dependence on their divine forms. Hephaestus knew even gods could bleed, be broken, be brought to their knees. As the final enchantments took hold, the net pulsed with a life of its own, seeming to writhe in his hands, eager to fulfill its purpose. Hephaestus gazed at his creation, pride and disgust warring within him. It was a masterpiece, a testament to his skill, but also a symbol of his pain. He knew that once unleashed, everything would change. Olympus would never be the same, but he could no longer turn back. The gears of vengeance were in motion. Back on Olympus, whispers of Aphrodite's infidelity swirled like smoke. Hermes, the messenger god, fleet-footed and ever curious, approached Hephaestus with a sly grin. "Ares seems to be spending an awful lot of time admiring your wife's beauty," he insinuated, his voice dripping with mischief. A true shame to see such devotion go unnoticed. Olympus thrived on gossip, a currency, a source of power, entertainment. Every whispered secret, stolen glance, illicit rendezvous was dissected and amplified, fueling the endless drama of the gods. Hermes, the master of gossip, reveled in the chaos he created, though he knew he was playing with fire. Hermes paused, feigning innocence, but his eyes betrayed his amusement. He thrived on discord, on the unraveling of carefully constructed facades. To see the stoic god of the forge finally pushed to the brink was a spectacle he couldn't resist. He lingered, hoping to elicit a reaction, a flicker of anger. Hephaestus merely grunted, his gaze fixed on the molten metal, a mask of concentration hiding the turmoil within. He did not rise to the bait. Disappointed, Hermes flitted away, leaving Hephaestus to his work and his thoughts. Hermes' words, however, only hardened his resolve. He continued to hammer at the metal, shaping and refining it with meticulous precision. Each strike of Hephaestus's hammer was a release of pent-up frustration, a physical expression of his inner turmoil. He knew Hermes sought to provoke him, to gauge his reaction, but he refused to offer that satisfaction. He wouldn't reveal his hand. Let them underestimate him, believe him the cuckolded fool. Their arrogance would be their undoing. Hephaestus felt eyes on him, not just Hermes's, but those of the other gods, circling like vultures, awaiting any sign of weakness. He channeled his energy into his work, feigning indifference to the whispers and glances. He would play the part of the oblivious husband, biding his time until the perfect moment to unleash his carefully crafted revenge. He could feel the molten metal hardening under his touch, mirroring the hardening of his own heart. Meanwhile, Aphrodite, blinded by vanity, grew increasingly careless. She gifted Ares a magnificent dagger, forged by Hephaestus himself, as a token of her love. The dagger was a masterpiece, its blade shimmering with an unearthly light, its hilt encrusted with precious gems. Aphrodite presented it to Ares with a flourish, unaware that Hephaestus watched from the shadows, his eyes burning with a cold, unwavering intensity. The gift wasn't a symbol of love, but a brand of betrayal, a final confirmation of their deceit. Hephaestus knew then, with absolute certainty, that his plan would succeed. Hephaestus meticulously orchestrated his deception, announcing to the gods of Olympus a journey to Lemnos, his sacred island. He cited the need to oversee his forges. Feigning exhaustion from the endless demands, he painted a picture of a god in desperate need of respite, a performance convincing enough to fool even the ever-suspicious Hera. More than a simple announcement, it was a carefully constructed spectacle. He stumbled through the halls of Olympus, his normally steady gait faltering, lamenting the relentless requests for his divine craftsmanship and the toll they took on his weary frame. He even accidentally dropped a newly forged thunderbolt at Zeus's feet, further emphasizing his supposed exhaustion. This elaborate act was designed to lull Aphrodite and Ares into a false sense of security, planting the irresistible seed of opportunity in their lustful hearts. Every action, every stumble, was meticulously calculated to ensure the plan's success. He was a master craftsman, not just of metal, but of deception. With Hephaestus seemingly gone, Aphrodite and Ares seized their chance, meeting in secret, their passion inflamed by the forbidden. They chose Hephaestus's own bedchamber, a brazen act of defiance fueled by arrogance and lust. Shielded by darkness and the presumed absence of the wronged husband, they believed themselves safe. their arrogance blinding them to the possibility of a trap. Aphrodite, accustomed to adoration and believing her beauty an impenetrable shield, never suspected Hephaestus capable of such cunning. Ares, drunk on power and fueled by the thrill of conquest, dismissed the crippled smith as a pathetic cuckold. Passion consumed them, blotting out reason and caution. The bedchamber, a testament to Hephaestus's skill, was filled with intricate metalwork and ingenious devices, all now contributing to their impending doom. Little did they know that every detail, even the placement of the bed, was meticulously planned for optimal capture. Hephaestus had transformed his own domain into their prison. The air crackled with unspoken desires and foolish confidence, a perfect storm brewing for a divine downfall. Ares, supremely confident, had even mocked Hephaestus's creations to Aphrodite, deriding the delicate automatons that served as the smith's only companions, seeing the forge as a place of weakness, not realizing it was the birthplace of unimaginable power. Aphrodite, consumed by vanity, reveled in Ares's adoration, seeing Hephaestus only as a means to an end, a husband to be used and discarded. Lost in their hubris, they failed to recognize the quiet intelligence simmering beneath Hephaestus's unassuming exterior. As the lovers embraced, the trap sprung. Golden threads, shimmering and almost invisible, descended from the ceiling, encircling them with impossible speed. The net, a testament to divine craftsmanship and fueled by vengeful magic, a blend of adamantine and orichalcum, snapped shut with a deafening roar. Ares, god of war, bellowed in fury, muscles straining against the enchanted bonds. Aphrodite's screams, pleas and curses echoed through the chamber, a stark contrast to the delicate threads now imprisoning them. The adamantine, mined from the earth's deepest reaches, provided unbreakable strength. The orichalcum, blessed by Poseidon, shimmered gold and amplified the net's magical properties. But the true power lay in the enchantments woven into its very fabric. Hephaestus had poured his rage and heartbreak into the intricate spellwork. This was more than restraint. It was designed to amplify their shame, to broadcast their plight across Olympus. It was vengeance incarnate, forged in the fires of betrayal. The net tightened, its grip absolute. The lovers were entangled, bound together in humiliation. The golden threads, delicate in appearance, proved impervious to Ares's divine strength. Realizing resistance was futile, Aphrodite began to bargain, offering anything for her freedom. Her words laced with desperation and a hint of genuine fear. She offered control of her sacred temples, promising eternal devotion, untold riches, vowing to end her affair and be a faithful wife. But Hephaestus remained unmoved. Years of humiliation and neglect had hardened his heart. He saw through her lies, recognizing the shallowness of her affections. He craved not apologies, but justice. He wanted Olympus to witness Aphrodite for who she was, fickle, unfaithful, driven by vanity and lust. The time for bargaining was over. Hephaestus, having waited until the lovers were thoroughly ensnared, summoned the gods to witness his triumph. He strode into the bedchamber, his limp exaggerated, his face a mask of cold fury. "Come," he declared, his voice ringing with righteous anger. "Witness the shame of Aphrodite and Ares!" The earth trembled as Hephaestus summoned the Olympians. His amplified voice echoed through the halls of the gods, demanding their attention. With cold precision, he recounted Aphrodite's infidelity and Ares's treachery, painting a vivid picture of their betrayal and his years of suffering. Leaving no room for doubt or sympathy, he made it clear this wasn't merely a private matter, but a crime against Olympus itself, a violation of sacred laws. He intended for the gods to witness the consequences of defying those laws, setting an example for any who dared challenge his authority. Drawn by the commotion and the irresistible allure of scandal, the gods arrived. Zeus roared with laughter, amused by the spectacle. Athena, goddess of wisdom, looked on with pity, recognizing the depth of Hephaestus's pain. Poseidon remained silent, a flicker of respect in his eyes for the wronged husband. Hera, Hephaestus's own mother, arrived with a mixture of disdain and morbid curiosity. Despite her own infidelities, she held a certain respect for the sanctity of marriage. Dionysus stumbled in, eager for amusement. Hermes zipped around, spreading gossip. Even Hades emerged from the shadows, drawn by the rare opportunity to witness drama on Olympus. The sheer number of deities crammed into the bedchamber created palpable tension. A divine court assembled for the downfall of two of their own. Savoring the moment, Hephaestus ordered the net raised. Trapped in their gilded cage, Aphrodite and Ares were hoisted high above Olympus, suspended over the abyss of Tartarus, a constant reminder of their mortality. The ascent was slow, deliberate, each inch a victory for Hephaestus, a torment for the lovers. The golden net shimmered, casting grotesque shadows, highlighting their shame. The air thinned, the temperature dropped as they approached the edge of Olympus. Below, Tartarus yawned open, a swirling vortex of darkness and despair. The faint screams of the damned carried on the wind, adding to the lovers' terror. The gods watched in silence, their faces a mixture of amusement, pity, and unease. The spectacle was a stark reminder of Hephaestus's power, the god they had long underestimated. He had not only captured Aphrodite and Ares, but seized control of the narrative, turning their transgression into a public spectacle. Hanging over Tartarus, the lovers were exposed to the judgment of the gods and the chilling reality of their actions. The abyss whispered promises of oblivion, a stark contrast to their former luxurious comfort. The laughter of Zeus echoed in their ears, a mocking reminder of their folly. The consequences of their actions were laid bare, stripping away the veneer of divinity. No longer untouchable gods, they were merely adulterous lovers, exposed to the full, crushing weight of divine justice. Immortality, once a source of pride and privilege, now felt like an unbearable curse, prolonging their humiliation for an eternity of shame. Aphrodite's humiliation was absolute. Tears, like acid, burned trails down her face, mocking her divine beauty and revealing her vulnerability. Curses flew from her lips, promising Hephaestus eternal torment, but a chilling fear coiled within her. She'd mistaken his kindness for weakness, a fatal error. His cold, vengeful gaze sent shivers down her spine. He was capable of a ruthlessness she'd never imagined. Olympus, a stage for endless drama, amplified her shame. She was the spectacle, her disgrace broadcast across the heavens. Each sidelong glance, each stifled snicker, was a blow. She longed to vanish, to dissolve into the ocean's embrace, but there was no escape from the divine gaze. The air itself felt thick with judgment, suffocating her. This moment, she knew, would forever stain her, casting a shadow on her beauty and power. She had always been above consequence, shielded by her beauty, her charm disarming gods and mortals alike. Now, exposed, she understood the precariousness of immortality. The gods' laughter, once a symphony of admiration, now echoed with mocking cruelty, a stark reminder that even goddesses could fall. Hephaestus's eyes held not just anger, but a profound disappointment that pierced her very being. Her power, so easily wielded, was useless now. All her charisma, her influence over hearts, was nullified by the unbreakable net. She couldn't charm or seduce her way out. It was a prison built of her own vanity, a trap she never thought possible. This wasn't just an affair gone wrong, it was a reckoning, a cosmic imbalance finally tipping against her. Ares, never one to yield, continued to struggle against the net, roaring defiance and threatening to unleash his wrath upon Olympus, vowing war against Hephaestus and his allies. But his struggles were futile. The enchanted chains held him fast, draining his strength with every movement. Even the god of war feared chains he could not break. He felt his power diminish, a terrifying sensation for an immortal. His threats echoed hollowly, stripped of their usual menace. The other gods watched with a mixture of fear and fascination, wondering if the war god would dare a suicidal assault on the forge god. Hephaestus, though physically weaker than Ares, commanded a different kind of power, a mastery over fire and metal that made him a formidable, if unconventional, opponent. Ares was trapped, not just by the net, but by his own impulsiveness, his inability to control his rage. He strained against the golden cage, muscles bulging, face contorted. The god of war, invincible on the battlefield, found himself in a battle he couldn't win with brute force. He cursed Hephaestus's name, promising a war that would shake Olympus to its foundations. But doubt already gnawed at him. He had underestimated the crippled smith, dismissing him as a weakling. Now, he understood the depth of Hephaestus's cunning, the power of his craft. The shame stung more than the magical restraints. To be outsmarted, outmaneuvered by the very god he had mocked, an unbearable blow to his pride. He had always relied on strength, prowess in battle, to overcome any obstacle. Now those attributes were useless, rendered impotent by Hephaestus's ingenious trap. The jeers of the other gods were like salt in an open wound, each one a reminder of his failure. He yearned to break free, to unleash his fury. But the net held him firm, a constant reminder of his vulnerability. Hephaestus watched the spectacle unfold, a hollow victory in his grasp. The laughter of Zeus, the pity of Athena, none of it filled the emptiness within. The scene before him was a grotesque parody of the love he had craved. His heart ached with a pain that dwarfed even the physical agony of his crippled leg. The silence of Poseidon was perhaps the most unsettling. The sea god, a force of nature as powerful as Ares, observed with a quiet intensity, a flicker of respect for Hephaestus's cunning in his eyes. Poseidon understood the power of the forge, the ability to shape elements, to create and destroy. He saw not just a wronged husband, but a god who had tapped into a deeper, more primal force. This display wasn't just about revenge, it was about power, a shift in the balance of Olympus. Hephaestus saw not the faces of gods, but masks of indifference and amusement. Each jeer, each glance of pity, was a hammer blow against his battered spirit. This wasn't justice. It was another spectacle, another reminder of his otherness. He had sought to expose Aphrodite's infidelity and Ares's arrogance, but in doing so, he had only exposed himself, laying bare his pain for all of Olympus to dissect. The heat of the forge seemed to cool, and a chilling wind swept through his soul. The shame wasn't merely the exposure of his marital woes, but the public unveiling of his deepest insecurities. He'd always striven for acceptance, for a place within the Olympian pantheon, but his imperfections set him apart, a difference he tried to overcome with skill, artistry, the unmatched ability to craft beauty. Now, his creations were overshadowed, his identity reduced to a cuckolded husband. Olympus, with its petty rivalries and endless intrigues, threatened to crush him. His mind flooded with memories, Hera recoiling at his birth, the gods' cruel taunts, the forced marriage to Aphrodite, beautiful but indifferent. He had always been an outsider, a figure of ridicule. Now, he had struck back, but the triumph tasted like ash. Countless hours toiling in his forge, the searing heat, the deafening hammer, the relentless pursuit of perfection. He poured his soul into his creations, hoping to earn respect, but he was met with indifference or condescension. They admired his skill, but never truly accepted him. This humiliation echoed a long history of rejection, confirming his deepest fears. He remembered Hera casting him from Olympus, repulsed by his deformed foot. His fall seemed endless until Thetis rescued him. She raised him, nurturing his talent, fashioning exquisite jewelry for her. Yet, even in the ocean's depths, he yearned for Olympus. His return brought triumph and continued scorn. Aphrodite's arrival was no reward, but another exile, bound to a goddess who despised him. Solace came only in the rhythmic clang of his hammer and the forge's heat. Now, that world had crumbled, leaving him more alone than ever. The cheers he craved were hollow echoes of a past he couldn't escape. He once believed craft could bridge the gap, that his creations could earn acceptance. He designed chariots, crafted jewelry, and forged weapons. Yet, despite his contributions, he remained on the periphery, a skilled artisan, never a true Olympian. His marriage to Aphrodite had been a cruel joke, a constant reminder of his perceived unworthiness. This betrayal cut deeper than mere infidelity. It was a rejection of his life's work, a confirmation of his outsider status. He realized, with a chilling certainty, that no amount of artistry could ever erase the stigma of his deformity. Olympus was now a fractured realm. Apollo, the god of light and reason, defended Hephaestus, championing his right to justice. Hera, ever the protective mother, seethed at her son's audacity, viewing his actions as a direct challenge to her authority and the established divine order. The other gods chose sides, their allegiances swayed by personal agendas and fleeting sympathies. The halls of Olympus teetered on the brink of divine civil war. The golden net, a symbol of divine betrayal and vengeance, quickly became legend. Hephaestus, in a rare display of mercy, freed Aphrodite and Ares from their humiliating confinement, but he kept the net. It hung within his forge, a constant reminder of the day he challenged the established order of Olympus. Though free, Aphrodite could never fully meet Hephaestus's gaze again. Forever haunted by shame, Ares, consumed by unyielding rage, secretly plotted his retaliation, awaiting the opportune moment to strike. The net itself became an object of fascination and fear. Its golden threads shimmered with an unearthly light, a testament to Hephaestus's unparalleled skill. Whispers claimed it possessed a consciousness, capable of sensing deceit and ensnaring betrayers of sacred vows. Others believed it a conduit to Tartarus, a physical embodiment of the consequences awaiting those who defied the gods. Each year, stories of the net grew wilder, enhancing Hephaestus's formidable reputation. He neither confirmed nor denied these rumors, content to let its mystery shroud him in an aura of power. The other gods, once dismissive, now regarded him with newfound respect, tinged with apprehension. The laughter had indeed turned to ash, replaced by a hushed reverence echoing through Olympus. Tales of the golden net even crossed the sea to mortal lands, inspiring artists and playwrights. They crafted stories of flawed heroes trapped by their own ambitions and desires. Undone by weaknesses and hubris, the net became a metaphor for the consequences of unchecked power, a symbol of the fine line between triumph and disaster. Hephaestus's creation reverberated through generations, shaping the moral landscape of the mortal world. But Hephaestus was no longer the scorned god of the past. The sting of betrayal and the fleeting satisfaction of revenge had hardened him. He turned away from Olympian squabbles and romantic intrigues, embracing his role as the god of the forge, pouring his energy and passion into his craft. His forge became his sanctuary, the clang of his hammer drowning out the whispers of Olympus. The fire's heat was a comforting presence, a constant reminder of the power he wielded. He experimented with new alloys, forging weapons of unparalleled strength and beauty, gifts for heroes and kings. He crafted intricate jewels for goddesses, each a testament to his mastery. Hephaestus poured his heart and soul into his work, seeking solace and meaning in the creation of enduring beauty. The forge was no longer a symbol of isolation, but a testament to his resilience and ingenuity. He transformed pain into power, rejection into creation. To fill the echoing void of Olympus, Hephaestus built magnificent automatons, intricate mechanical beings of bronze and gold. They were beautiful and obedient, incapable of love or betrayal, offering silent companionship that soothed the turmoil within him. These weren't mere toys, but clockwork marvels capable of incredible feats. Some tended the forge, fetching tools with tireless precision. Others stood guard, their bronze bodies impervious to harm. Still others provided entertainment, playing music or reciting poetry. Hephaestus treated them with a quiet affection, recognizing in them a reflection of his own longing. They were extensions of himself, born from loneliness, offering solace in his solitary existence, a family forged in fire and bound by ingenuity. Meticulously maintained and constantly refined, Hephaestus saw in his automatons the potential for a world where labor was eased and burdens shared. He dreamed of mortals freed from toil, pursuing creative endeavors with the aid of his creations. But this dream remained elusive. The other gods, wary of his creations, cautioned against imbuing them with too much intelligence, fearing a threat to their authority. Ever mindful of the consequences, Hephaestus reluctantly complied, tempering ambition with prudence. Yet, he never abandoned his dream, continuing to tinker and experiment in secret, driven by the desire to create something extraordinary. Centuries passed. The tale of Hephaestus's golden net faded into myth, resurfacing in mortal tales of cunning artisans and trapped titans. Mortals whispered of an unbreakable net, inescapable, capable of ensnaring even the most formidable foes. The legend served as a warning, a reminder of hubris and betrayal. Its design was copied and adapted, becoming a symbol of justice and retribution. Kings used similar devices to trap their enemies, and heroes employed cunning snares to overcome monstrous foes. The tale of Hephaestus's ingenuity spread far and wide, solidifying his legacy as the master craftsman who turned humiliation into power. Children were warned of betrayal, reminded that even gods faced consequences. The golden net, once a symbol of shame, became an emblem of divine justice, a testament to the enduring power of Hephaestus's craft, a reminder that even the most powerful could be brought down by ingenuity and determination. One day, long after the fires of vengeance had cooled, Aphrodite visited Hephaestus in his forge. She didn't arrive with anger, nor resentment, but with a quiet solemnity. She simply watched him work, his powerful hands shaping metal with effortless grace. Neither spoke, no apologies exchanged, no forgiveness offered, just a shared understanding of the pain they had inflicted upon each other. Firelight danced in her eyes, reflecting years of unspoken regret. Her beauty, once radiant and carefree, now carried a hint of sadness, an acknowledgement of past mistakes. Hephaestus continued his work, seemingly oblivious, yet his movements subtly acknowledged her presence. He knew she sought something, perhaps forgiveness, understanding, or simply a moment of shared silence. Whatever her reasons, he wouldn't deny her this small reconciliation. The forge was his place of creation, yes, but perhaps also a space for healing, where even the deepest wounds could begin to mend. A silent truce was forged in the heat, a recognition of craft's enduring power against the fleeting nature of love and vengeance. They were both scarred, forever bound by the golden net that had changed them. This unspoken agreement didn't erase the past, but allowed them to move forward, acknowledging their shared burden. Aphrodite began visiting the forge more often, offering quiet companionship. She would bring ambrosia and nectar, sharing stories of their realms. Slowly, tentatively, a new understanding blossomed, a recognition of their shared divinity. No longer lovers, nor enemies, but something in between, two souls bound by fate and the enduring power of the forge. This newfound respect allowed them to appreciate each other's strengths, accept each other's flaws. Aphrodite saw in Hephaestus a depth she had never noticed. Hephaestus recognized Aphrodite's concealed vulnerability. Their bond, though unconventional, deepened with time. They found solace in each other's company, sharing triumphs, failures, hopes, and fears. Aphrodite learned to appreciate Hephaestus's quiet strength and unwavering dedication. Hephaestus recognized Aphrodite's capacity for compassion. They were two souls, mending each other's wounds, forging a new path. Their relationship became a symbol of resilience, a testament to connection in adversity. Not lovers, but companions, confidantes, kindred spirits, bound by shared history and mutual respect. Hephaestus continued to work, sparks flying from his hammer illuminating his face. He was no longer the scorned god, nor the vengeful husband. He was Hephaestus, god of the forge, master craftsman, architect of his own destiny. Hephaestus's creations would endure, echoing through the ages long after the gods themselves had faded. His hammer rang out, each strike a testament to his unwavering dedication as he crafted new wonders, automata that sang and danced with impossible grace, weapons capable of cleaving mountains, jewels that shimmered with starlight. Gods and mortals alike sought his masterpieces, each a testament to artistry and ingenious design. Hephaestus had found his purpose not in vengeance, nor in love, but in the relentless pursuit of perfection. He was master of his domain, architect of his own destiny. The forge burned bright, a beacon of creativity and resilience in the face of divine adversity. Love burns, betrayal melts, but craft endures.